Hey everyone, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the Inspired Riding Tune In Tuesday show. So, today is all about transitions. How you transition really reflects how you transition in life, right? So, if you're hurrying or holding your breath or just hoping for the best, it might not turn out that nicely, right? So, my way of doing transitions is to first take a breath. Think about the transition that you want. Then you're going to visualize it and actually imagine yourself doing it in the most beautiful way possible. So first breathe, second is visualize. Third is to half halt for balance. Fourth is to invite your horse. Are you ready? You can actually say that out loud. Are you ready? And then breathe into it when you feel like they are ready. So that goes along with my theory of think of something you want to do in your mind, ask your heart, make sure you feel good about it, ask your horse's heart. So it's a three-way intuitive riding way. So you're making sure it feels good for yourself and for your horse, and that will help smooth your transitions. So again, you start with breathing, visualizing, half halting, inviting your horse, making sure it feels good, and then breathe again right into the transition. So it seems like a lot, but it all happens really fast. And again, you want to think about riding into the future a few strides ahead. So imagine how you want it to feel, how you want it to look, and that will help get the visualization going in a more natural way. And then you can do this for your whole life. Like say you wake up in the morning and you feel a little groggy, or you're just not sure how the day's going to go. That's where you take the unicorn horn, take it by the horn, and say, this is how it's going to go. My morning's going to be amazing. My afternoon's going to be amazing. My evening's going to be amazing. I'm going to go back to bed and feel so grateful for life. That's how you segment intent your day. So you can do that for your ride. You can do that for your whole life. And that's a beautiful way to set up your transitions really well. So quick transitions will energize your horse. So let's say your horse is a little bit behind your leg and a little bit sluggish. So you can play around with trot halt, trot, trot gallop, back to walk, trot canter, 5 and 5. Play around with it, and that should energize them and create a little more jazzed up feeling. Slowing things down will help relax them, obviously. So you can do lots of walk, halt, breathe, scratch, ask for a little tiny flexion to the inside, get them to chew the bit down and soften, and as they chew the bit down, that will help them relax more. So the next thing is to experiment with counting your strides. So let's say you want to trot for 10, walk for 4, and you're going to do this by visualizing it first, and then when you get to stride 8, 9, 10, start to ask for your walk. And then as you're at stride 3 or 4 of your walk, ask for trot. Depending on your horse's energy level, you might need to ask sooner or later. And getting yourself dialed in to get really precise about those numbers will help you communicate with your horse better. You're going to dial in your cues, and then that clarity of focus will really help your horse feel relieved because they'll know exactly what you want. Then the other thing I love to do is transitions within the gait. So I call that the accordion exercise. So you can extend your walk, collect your walk. So you're opening and closing. Same with trot, same with canter. And of course, you're going to breathe through those transitions, feeling the difference. And see if you can make a really dramatic change between the two. And that will help you and your horse get really dialed into exactly what kind of quality and what kind of tempo that you'd like to set up. Let me read one of my notes about installing a canter transition when your horse feels like they want to rocket into it. So I've had several of you talk about how your horse's energy is very high. So I like to do the transitions within the trot. So you ask for a working trot, and then you open them up and collect them, and then you sit quietly, you breathe, and imagine the horse stepping into the canter easily. On a side note, what I want you to do to practice is do this actually without your horse. So see if you can practice just trotting around and then stepping into a canter really easily, and notice what your body does. So you might rock back a little bit to get your canter right. Same thing when you're doing that on the horse. Your body needs to stay quiet and balanced, and it should feel like it rocks back ever so slightly to remind the hind end to engage. If your body pitches forward, your horse will feel a heaviness on the forehand, and the transition will feel disorganized and unbalanced. So it's really important. I like to imagine you have a ponytail. Even if your hair is not this long, imagine your ponytail is connected to your horse's tail with a bungee cord, and that will help you feel like you're connected and rocking back. Let's see, where was I? So when a horse is this excited to go, you might only need to breathe and think canter, and then they'll offer it to you. So you might not have to do much. And you can ask in this soft way, but the key is to stay calm and go with what your horse offers. So if it's a bit too exuberant, you need to breathe and just go with it and calmly bring them back to whatever feels good to you when you can, in a tactful and quiet way. So you don't want to like pull in the reins right away. No. Like, you have to just allow them to move. Like, feel comfortable enough in your body to just allow them to go, and then coast back to whatever tempo feels more comfortable for you. And then you're going to establish a lot better relationship with them. You never want to like try to shut them down straight away, because then they'll be less apt to offer you that lovely energy. So you want to think of the energy as a gift, and then find your way to go with it and breathe. Another tip on the side note is, if you have a set of swings that you can play with, and get yourself on a swing set and actually get that motion in your hips, that will help you. You can also use one of those balance balls, and you're going to have your feet on the ground, and instead of just bouncing on it, what I want you to do is actually tilt your pelvis forward and back, and then make little circles like you've got a hula hoop, back and forth both directions, and see how adept you can be with your seat and keeping your upper body very still and your shoulders relaxed. So the more you can work your pelvis in those ways, then the easier it's going to be for you to move with your horse. So you have to think your abs stay really strong, and your lower back is going to be very loose and moving with your horse. So another thing I think about is putting my hand on the back of my lower back, and I just talk to my lower back and say, soften, relax, follow my horse, things like that. You can do that with your inside hand as you're going around just up the walk, just to remind your back to go with it. So if your horse leaps into a canter and goes super fast, engage your seat to move with them, but then immediately focus on talking to them. Make a big circle, but not so small you don't want to throw off their balance. And then softening the feel on the reins, especially your inside rein. So that's a really excellent tip. You might need to push your inside hand all the way towards your horse's ear and create a loop in the rein. This works really well, especially if you've got thoroughbreds that are used to bearing down on the reins, bracing, and going fast. So that way it'll remind them not to brace, and they'll have to rebalance themselves. So you must do your absolute best to sit up and stay balanced and focus on exactly what you want it to feel like in your next moment. So the idea is you set your horse up for success with your inner calm and focus and breathing and visualization, which is what I mentioned earlier. And if it doesn't go to plan, don't panic. Just go with the flow and breathe, and bring your body into balance and calmness as soon as possible. This will help your horse come back to you sooner. So remember, you always want to set the tone for the energy that you want. So if your horse is really up, you have to breathe and be like, nope, I'm staying calm, you're coming back to my energy. So remember, this might not happen overnight. It will take practice and consistency. You want a bookmark feeling to initiate this calm, balanced, and present feeling. So what will be your bookmark feeling? Remember, bookmark feelings can be anything. You can decide on what you want to feel, and then let it fill up your entire essence. So let's say you want to feel the most confident, present, best transition maker ever. And imagine that feeling, and then you create a bookmark, whether it's a mantra or a phrase like, we've got this, I am powerful. Or it could be wiggling your toes in your boots, smiling, could be looking up for a moment, touching your horse's mane. That's when I get so you can combine all of them and just get really creative and make sure it's something practical that you'll actually remember. Long exhales and prepping for transitions. You're going to practice exhaling longer than your inhale whenever you can remember, even when you're not with your horse. And that's a great way to relax and release tension. So let's do it all right now. So just breathe in for 5. And let's breathe out for 8. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in for 5. And breathe out for 8. So if you play with that a little bit, especially when you're preparing for a transition, that'll help your body set yourself up for a change, and your horse is going to feel that too. So when preparing for an upward transition, imagine you're going up a hill. And that will help get your body in a better position. It'll get you off your horse's forehand and help them lighten up in their shoulders and think energy up. And it'll help them balance back. Because remember, the engine's in the back. We want to ignite that engine. So when preparing for a downward transition, continue this up feeling as if you're going uphill. Add the longer exhale and feel your body create the sensation of how you want it to feel in your next moment. So if you're going from canter to trot, feel the 2-beat rhythm in your body and send that idea to your horse. So you know you're going with the horse with your seat, right? And then when you want your trot, you get a little more firm and feel that tension in your abs and a little bit in your hips, and you feel that 2-beat rhythm in your body, and you're going to breathe through that. And this can be also applied when you're working on the ground and lunging. You can mimic those feelings in your body, and the horse will feel that. They're so sensitive, remember. They feel everything. So get your body more involved with the images and your breathing, and you're going to have a lot more success. Right before you ask for a transition, take a deep breath. I'm repeating myself, but yes, this is important. Think about how your body shifts for the transition to be successful. What do you need to change in yourself first? So it's really good to analyze how things are feeling and then notice what felt good and what didn't, and then take note of that. So as soon as you get the transition and it feels nice, be sure you tell your horse, yes, that's it. So that's what I talk about, the yes moments. You can say yes, or good boy, or good girl, or just breathe out, or give them a little scratch on the withers with your inside hand. That way they know they're on the right track. If the transition did not feel good, don't say anything. Just go with the flow. And when you're ready, ask again. Like, oh, no big deal, we'll just keep going. And be sure you're patient with yourself and your horse. And be sure you ask for transitions in both directions. Make sure you're very even. It's so important to keep changing direction and evening out. Just like if you stretch on one side, you've got to stretch the other. It's only natural. So don't get stuck on one side for a while. If you tend to tip forward at all, think of riding your horse uphill slightly. Again, what I said earlier. And then for half halts, imagine getting longer and taller, stretching your body vertically. I often think, imagine you're a prima ballerina. It will naturally engage your core and help your horse feel the shift to balance back. So, things to think about when in doubt, slow down. Notice when your transitions feel very smooth and see if you can pinpoint exactly what you did to get them set up beautifully. If your transitions are feeling sticky or not as clear as you like, come back to what your horse knows really well. It might just be walk-halt transitions for a while. Always look for ways to feel successful and come back to challenging areas later. Less is more. Decide not to get greedy. That's hard, I know. Especially when things are feeling good with a few transitions and they were maybe harder before, end sooner than you think your horse expects you to. And surprise them with your satisfied feeling and notice how much they offer you in the next session. So there's a little story from walk to canter is a really fun transition, and especially if your horse has that energy just dialed in. It's a really awesome feeling, but sometimes to get it feels a little bit tricky. So my husband actually came up with this really fun idea. So what you do is you imagine you're in the supermarket, right, and you're getting groceries, and you're kind of in like a sullen mood, and you're just like, oh, gotta get groceries, and you're just kind of like in your own zone, right? Not really that thrilled about life in the moment, right? And then all of a sudden, around the corner, someone you absolutely love, you haven't seen in ages, just shows up. And you see them, and your energy goes, right? That's the feeling you want from walk to canter, especially if you're trying to shift your energy a little bit to help get your horse dialed in. The other thing I like to do is play a lot with the trot first, energize the trot, walk just a few steps, keep the engine running, and then allow your horse to canter. So that way you're going to feel like the engine's moving. Oh my goodness, we got wild puppies back here, sorry. So you'll feel the engine moving and continually going. So when you go for your downward transition, you want to actually create a little bit of feeling of connecting your shoulder blades together and engage your abs more. So you want to feel like you're still riding forward into the transition from canter to trot. That one's one of the hardest. So you want to feel like you're shifting your body completely from canter to trot, and then you want to keep riding, like don't fizzle out. So that's where you want to get a little more active with your body and go, this is what I need the trot. And you're going to feel a difference in your seat, moving, you know, with the canter to then I just want the trot, and get that posting, rising up and down feeling, and that's going to help you. So you bring your shoulder blades together, so create a little bit of tension, a little bit of holding, and breathe through that feeling to then come back to the trot, and then just go with it. And then she said she has trouble with tensing up, so just keep breathing, especially breathe into your lower belly. Imagine that filling up more. And then just get excited about it, like, hey, we've got this, and see if you can just allow yourself to feel like you're getting stronger, but then also remember to allow your lower back to move with your horse too. So you might need to even schedule some massages and make sure you're loosening up your lower back, or do some extra yoga. Okay, hopefully that helps you. She wants to improve transitions at specific markers, like under pressure. Say you're in doing a dressage test, or while in a lesson and your instructor expects you to canter at C, you know. So this is what you do. You practice on your own so you can do them anytime. So you pretend like you're doing, or someone's telling you, do it now, do it now, do it now. And then you start to get snappier with your transitions. So you're going to put the ideas I had in the beginning on speed. So breathe, visualize, half halt, balance, invite, breathe again, go for it. And just put that on rinse and repeat. And just keep playing around. And then all of a sudden your horse and you are going to be like amazingly simpatico and just can do transitions at any time. So that's my advice for you. If it gets to be too much for you and your horse, of course, take a walk break. Let them have a mind vacation, long reins. Breathe again, and just let them chill out. But it's really fun to play with things like that. I've done a variety of that with my students. I'm like, okay, get ready, listen up, we're going to do this. And they're like, boom, 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 we're doing all sorts of quick transitions. And then next thing you know, when they do it on their own or when they're in a dressage test, it's so much easier because it's just there. You've got it dialed in. Feeling more connected in the saddle for her first stride of canter. Again, same things. Like if you can, just practice as if you're riding without the horse, just running around, trot and canter, and feel that feeling of lunging into it, like stepping into it lightly. And then just work on your abs more, work on that lower back softening, sitting back, and then enjoying it. And visualizing is going to be one of your biggest things. So if you have a visceral memory of being able to do that when you were younger, call that back in. Say, hey, younger self, let's do this. And visualize it and have some fun with it. So if you need help specifically, I do private lessons and power sessions. So if you have the technology, we do have a Bluetooth speaker that I'm an ambassador for, and it connects to your phone, and we can do Zoom meetings while you're riding. It's amazing. It's almost like I'm right there along the fence with you. So there is that option if you're interested, or if you just need more advice and want to chat with me, video chat, that's our power sessions, and I can help guide you. Thanks again for watching, and hopefully this helps you. And I'm sending you tons of love, and may the horse be with you always.